103.4 Sun FM.
We're talking today about a little-known disease called Coeliac disease. Now, tell us a little bit more about it, Chris, because it's a father and son kind of thing.
Yeah, now it's pronounced celiac disease, and it looks like Coeliac, like Sebco, Coeliac, but it's pronounced celiac disease. And I'm actually supporting a campaign to make people obviously more aware of the condition, but if somebody has got celiac disease, they should realise that their family members are at risk. There's a 1 in 10 chance of a close family member having celiac disease if you have got it. And by close family member, I mean it could be your parents, brothers or sisters, or your children. And people aren't aware of it. But of course, most people aren't aware of celiac disease and what it is and what causes it.
Which you can count me amongst, because I didn't even know how to pronounce it, let alone what it does. So tell us then, Chris, what is it all about? What is celiac disease?
Well, I mean, it's a potentially serious disease where the body reacts to a substance called gluten, which is found in wheat, barley and rye. Now, therefore, the products it's in are numerous: bread, pasta, pizzas, pastries, cakes, biscuits, even mayonnaise, sauces, sausages, fish fingers. It can be hidden in many foods. Now, the effect that gluten has on a patient with celiac disease, it damages the lining of the intestine, but also it causes the body's immune system to attack itself. So celiac disease is known as an autoimmune disease. It's not a food allergy. And the body's antibodies produced attack various tissues and organs around the body. So the patient not only suffers symptoms from their gut, from their intestine, but symptoms elsewhere around the body. Now, I'm talking to you as a doctor, and I'm health ambassador for Coeliac UK, but actually I've been health ambassador for a few years. 2 years ago, I go and get celiac disease myself, which was quite a shock. And the symptoms that I had and that are quite common are bloating of the tummy, abdominal pain or discomfort, diarrhea. Actually, some patients get constipation. But there are symptoms that are not related to the gut that are caused by this reaction to gluten. Because your body, your intestine isn't absorbing all the nutrients, you can get anemia, so you can suffer, prolonged tiredness. I've actually got a condition called osteoporosis, which is thinning, brittle bones caused by me not being able to absorb calcium because of my celiac disease. And then when you look in other areas, it can cause infertility. It can cause recurrent miscarriages. Now, the number of women who have been investigated for infertility and have had recurrent miscarriages and never been tested for celiac disease must run into the thousands. And it can also cause depression, mouth ulcers, joint and bone pain, skin reactions, and also in a small percentage of patients, small bowel cancer of the small bowel. So its effects are quite widespread across the body.
Well, 1 in 100 people, which is quite surprising that we haven't heard so much more about it until now. And as you say, you could have the symptoms but not know until much later in life.
That's right. Now, for example, when I started with my symptoms, I went to see a specialist and he thought I had IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. And in fact, I didn't. Now, here's a message for listeners of yours who have got IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, and you're on treatment, and if you're not improving on that treatment, then you may not have IBS, you might have celiac disease. Now, the thing is, there's no test for IBS, but for celiac disease, there's a simple blood test that your GP can do. So if in your family somebody has got celiac disease, you should seriously, get down to your GP and ask to have a celiac blood test. It's a very simple test, but if you're going for that test, don't change your diet. Don't go avoiding the foods that I mentioned that contain gluten. Eat your normal diet until you've had your blood test and see what that shows. My son, who's an athlete, he actually went and got tested. He's a 400-metre runner, actually ran in the Beijing Olympics and hopes to be in the London Olympics. So it was very important for him to find out whether he had celiac disease undiagnosed. Anyhow, he's got the all clear.
So when you find out that you do have celiac, do you just change your diet and it helps you create that immune system back to normal?
Yeah, now there's no cure for the condition and there's no medication, which does sound very negative. But in fact, if you follow a strict gluten-free diet for life, the gut repairs itself and your health improves. I follow a gluten-free diet. It's no problem at all. It's difficult at first when you're changing over from your normal diet to a gluten-free diet. But, I mean, the gluten-free foods out there, meat, fish, eggs, all the dairy products, fruit and veg, peas, beans, lentils, rice, corn, potatoes. There are plenty of foods out there that are naturally gluten-free. And then, of course, you've got, the free from, the gluten-free foods that are on supermarket shelves. Now, and the interesting thing, Steve, in Sunderland, there are about 2,800 people with celiac disease, and 2,500 of them do not know they've got it. They're walking around with celiac disease undiagnosed.
Can they then simply go to their doctors and check, or will we be inundated with people saying, can I have this blood test?
Well, I think if you have symptoms, certainly if you have any abdominal symptoms like bloating, discomfort or diarrhoea, or if somebody in your family has got celiac disease, a close family member, obviously, yes, go and see your GP and ask about, getting this simple test. But as I say, do not change your diet, before you get to the GP. The thing is, what bothers me is the family members who don't get checked, because there's a 1 in 10 chance you've got celiac if it's in your family. But the average patient suffers for 13 years before they get diagnosed. 13 years of symptoms, many of them being treated as IBS patients or other bowel problems, when in fact they're suffering from this reaction to gluten that's in their diet.
Now, your son Andrew must be so pleased to realise he has got the all clear, because when it comes to diets and athletes in particular, their diets are crazy enough as it is without having to cut out the gluten.
Well, yeah, I mean, he leads a very strict life. I mean, he's an expert on nutrition, and of course, he trains every day. It's a very strict life being a professional athlete, and he was relieved to know that he didn't have celiac disease, because then he'd have to go onto a gluten-free diet, so which would restrict his diet even further. But having said that, Djokovic, the tennis player,
Yeah.
He went gluten-free. He's not a celiac disease patient. He admits it. When he went gluten-free, his performance improved. The number of tournaments he won after going gluten-free was actually quite phenomenal. And I think Andy Murray has gone gluten-free. And some people are just doing this as a lifestyle decision. Well, that's up to them.
That's interesting, that.
Yeah.
As far as Andrew's concerned, 400 metres is a discipline that's quite, it's been a great British discipline for many years now. I'm thinking of many kind of middle distance runners like Roger Black, for example, and other guys on the hurdles in that distance. So is Andrew, up amongst it? I know he's a hopeful.
Well, I mean, he ran in Beijing and he just missed a bronze medal by 0.6 of a second, which is the blink of an eyelid.
That's pretty close. race then.
And he is ranked by UK Athletics as a medal hope, and the past 18 months he's been quite ill with glandular fever, so he hasn't run a lot of races and therefore hasn't produced any fast time. So he's had his lottery funding withdrawn, which is very frustrating when he's ranked number 2 in the UK. It's very frustrating indeed. But nevertheless, he's training well now, and he's just got to do some fast times this year, and if he'll be selected. If you achieve the qualifying time, then that's automatic selection for the team.
It's probably all those years of you walking from Walker to St Aidan's in Sunderland has made him genetically a fast runner, do you reckon?
I know, but no, it was only me. I lived in Wallsend, and I went by bus and train to Sunderland. Andrew was born down here in Manchester, so but I don't know where he gets his genes from. Not from me, because I'm not athletic, never have been.
Okay, Chris, anything else you'd like to add that we might miss at all?
Website address?
Yes, fire away.
Coeliac. Now, let me spell Coeliac. COELIAC. Coeliac.org.uk. And there's a helpline, which is 0845 305 2060.
Brilliant. Chris, when I write this up for tomorrow and put it on the website, I'll put those numbers and that email, that web address on there as well for you, okay?
That's great, Steve.
Lovely to talk to you.